Final of the EU qualifier number 1. It's Mousesports. It's Team Kinguin. It's a best of 5, which you were saying earlier may favor Mousesports just due to map depth and the fact that Kinguin just bringing in Legia don't necessarily up to speed on all their strategies.
That's what's yet to be seen, right? We don't know how deep their map pool can go, especially when you bring the new coach in, and he's going to be the in-game leader as well. How's he going to adapt? If it's a best of 3, I may favor them just down to their pure fragging ability, but now it's a best of 5. I think if they are going to win, it has to be within 3. What do you think?
I think they could still potentially wrap it up in 4. We'll see when we get to the maps. But first and foremost, I did mention it's the final for the first European qualifier. And as such, this is how it all is structured. We can see Method. They're already into the U.S. qualifier. So Luminosity, CLG, Team Liquid, Method, they comprise the U.S. group stage. Now we're into the EU number 1. So TSM, Na'Vi, Virtus Pro, the winner of this game. And then we'll do the same thing again to find out who will go in with Fnatic, Team Envious Titan. 1 from each group makes the LAN. And then due to the fact that there's 2 European groups, unfortunately, North America doesn't get to take part in this, but all 6 remaining teams from the EU groups are put into 1, basically, and there's a last chance to make up the 4th spot. So
I think that's good, though. There's so many top teams in there, right? You want to make sure you can get as many as you can in there as possible. Who do you choose from?
I mean, the group 2, I think Fnatic should come out of that fairly easily. Yeah. I think right now Envious is still slightly better than Titan with the change, but that's going to be a really interesting one because it's a domestic battle. But out of Group 1, take your pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seriously, take your pick.
And the fact we're going to be adding potentially Mousesports or Kinguin into there as well. That just makes it even crazier. So.
Yeah, no, that group's going to be nuts. That's literally the group of death in this. In this, every tournament they say is a group of death. That's it. And speaking of how we got to where we are with Kinguin and Mousesports, look at the bracket. This is where we started off just 2 nights ago. Mousesports took down Torpedo, who managed to qualify in the open qualifying segment of this. They just got picked up by a new roster, formerly known as Unleashed. I guess you could say Tier 3 sort of Swedish team.
Judging by what I saw last night, I would say Tier 3 is fair. To not take anything away from them, their fragging abilities were actually there. They had very good exchanges. It was just the rounds, their tactical approach was getting stifled by Mousesports a little bit too much. I think that you could tell by the end of it, Mousesports are having quite a lot of fun with it. But definitely a team to watch out for, I think.
Absolutely. And, of course, we saw in the lower division of that, it was 3 games for that best of 3. Kinguin knocked off Hellraisers. It was 16-14 in the second game, and it was a good comeback as well by Kinguin almost to wrap that game up, but just came up 1 round short in the end.
That was on Inferno, right? That was when
that was on Cash. Inferno was the third map. Cash was the close one.
That's right. But just Inferno, that's why I'm saying about their map pool being quite weak. I was thinking just seeing their T side, it seemed like they didn't really have too much
that was actually in reverse. Hellraisers almost brought it back. It was like 12-3, I think, at halftime, and then they barely wrapped that game up. So you're right. There's definitely some issues with their T side. Again, you think they've got to wrap it up quickly. Now, Vulcan, for those of you who played last night, it is carried over from the semifinals. So if you had the correct teams moving forward, if you stacked up on those teams, you'll have a chance. Henry, I think you were slightly wrong on Hellraisers, but we'll look at your team first.
Okay, well, my team, obviously, I haven't got my glasses on today. It's quite hard to see this one. So next.
My eyes are dim. I cannot see.
Next, obviously, like I said yesterday, one of the upcoming world's best players, I think. Every tournament he seems to get better and better. We saw a great display from him last night as well. Chris J, much quieter last night than he normally would be. He didn't play bad by any sense, but he wasn't AWPing as much. He had the rifles quite early on in the tournament, and he was letting, I think it was Dennis, pick up the AWP for him. So he's one of those players who can be quite hit or miss. If he's firing all cylinders, he can be one of the most formidable AWPers and scout players there is. If he's quieter and not really feeling it, maybe he goes down to being an average player. But Rain, for me, had another fantastic night. He was one of the cheapest players available to buy yesterday, and I thought he was phenomenal. He was getting 4-mans all over the place. Michael, obviously Kinguin's AWP player. I'll be looking for him to go big tonight. He's got his work cut up against him, though, against Chris J. That's going to be interesting to see how that goes down.
You've got both oppers, though. You've got 5 players playing tonight, so you did okay in terms of stacking up with Kinguin players, interestingly enough. It was just the Mousesports guys you don't have loaded on.
Yeah, well, if only I knew going into this. I'm learning more.
I mean, that's the thing. And it's not always common that they'll carry over into an additional light, because it's supposed to be one-day fantasy, fast fantasy value. But in these situations, you've already got the teams in the deck. And there's only one game the next night. It makes sense to do it this way.
So the players that are relevant for me is going to be Mo, Dosia, and Adren. They do nothing for me tonight. So Ripperoni.
Yeah.
How many Hellraisers players did you take?
Oh, I've got 2. So I think I did stack it correctly.
You're winning already.
Potentially. Let's take a peek. So here's the interesting thing. You went with Nex as your shot caller. You're still going to have him in tonight, and he's going against Scream. Last night, Scream was by far the best player to have as the shot caller. He was nuts. So if he can get his headshots rolling again over a best of 5, he could actually be insane again tonight. Now, Rain was the other player. You had him, I didn't. That brought in a lot of value, and that's why we got beat. I think I got beat by something like 150 points in the end. But I do have Dennis, which last night, not great, but not bad. Michaelele, again, bringing in the op for Kinguin. You've got him as well. Gobby is a little bit different. I did have him in for Mousesports. You don't, and that's where we start to see the differences because I've also got Chris J in next, but Gobby's my third one in, so it's just Adren and Kutcher that aren't playing. So I have 6 as opposed to your 5, which may bode well for me, but I'm sure there's some people out there that are in the same situation as I am, and if you have Rain in as opposed to what I've got, you may have a chance of again, accumulating more points this evening. I had a lot of salary left over. I wonder if I could have picked up Rain.
Yeah,
I think Rain was like $900.
He was the cheapest player the entire night.
Yeah, so I should have taken him.
But you're still going to win, I think, but thanks, playing.
It could be interesting. I mean, okay, I have 6 playing. I should win. Let's just put it that way. But if somehow Mousesports dominate, let's say, and Next comes out huge, Next compensates for like a poor player that I have, like let's say Dennis goes really quiet. Mm-hmm. If Next can, as the shot caller for you, surpass what Dennis gets me, I don't know why I'm picking on Dennis, but just as an example, then you could actually still outdo me with 5 players.
Wait,
so
as you pointed out,
that also means Scream has to be quiet, though.
Yeah, so I was going to say, Scream AK last night, especially on Dust 2, it was like crazy the stuff he was doing. Just walking up short, finding up 3 or 4 kills, pretty much consistent headshots as well. If he's doing that sort of business tonight, I don't really fancy my chances. But
we'll see how it goes. We'll take a very short break. We will come back. We'll preview the 2 teams' rosters. You guys know them well, but we'll take a closer look as well at their statistics and then look at the maps just a few moments away. Don't go anywhere. Well, we did say we would be quick. We're definitely not liars. We're ready to go. It's going to be map 1 of best of 5 coming up in just a second's time, but it is Team Kinguin, Mousesports, if you're just joining us. Obviously, the title should say that somewhere up there. HLTV should say it. CSGO Lounge should say it. You should know it, but just in case you don't know where you are, that's what you're watching.
I know where I am.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
it may not seem like
this is like a good step. This is the start of something.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think we're doing the roster rundown soon, aren't we? So we can talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mousesports first.
Let's have a look at them then.
Yeah, so Mousesports obviously making some changes back at the start of the new Pro League. They wanted to go back to the German-speaking lineup. Pretty much an all German roster aside from Chris J, but it's Nex who really is the guy that stands out in skill level right now for me. Chris is up there. I think he's probably, and some people will probably argue this, I'd have to think about it. I put him probably around the 5th or 6th op right now in the world.
I'd say he's top 5 easily.
Yeah.
I'd say he's on the cusp. Like you said, he's number 5. Number 5.
I'd say 5. I'd say Alu's slightly ahead, but then you've got like, I still think Kenny S is in there.
Kenny S, Guardian.
Guardian and Skadoodle.
Skadoodle. Got those guys to consider. He's definitely in the top 5, or at least contending for it.
Absolutely. And then Dennis as well, who's come over from the former Penta lineup. Very aggressive, and Chris J and him have been working very well together. Gobby, who's got a lot of praise lately for in-game leadership, and Speedy. Yeah,
the thing about Gobby is he's like, he'll never be at the top of the scoreboard but we have to remember he is the gel of the team. He's holding it all together. He does all the research. He anti-strats every other single team. I was speaking to him at the Take TV event, and he actually does all the time. They don't have a coach as such. They have a manager behind them, but he does all the work and does all that research. That's why he's so important to the team. But having a look over at Kinguin, a different kind of team, really. They're not so based around a solid formation and strategies. They are purely star players. Everyone's got great fragging potential in this team. Starting with Rain, we saw him kick off last night. He can be a really explosive player, especially on CT. He can hold areas by himself and always pick up 1 or 2 frags. Other notable picks there, Michaelele, he's been the AWP player recently, and he's taken over from Fox as well. So Fox came into this team as the AWP player, and it didn't really seem to work out for them. They weren't getting decent results in, so they swapped that over. Fox has gone into that support role now, and Michaelele picking up the AWP, and he seems like he's more at home.
Oh, way more at home. I mean, he's very flashy in his play style. Obviously, things didn't work out with Nip for whatever reason because he was definitely finding kills. He can be a little bit inconsistent with his shot. Sometimes you'll see him have one round. You know, I think back to MLG on Cobblestone against Envy in the finals or LDLC at the time. And they basically just throws out like 4 whiffs in one round. But then the next round, he'll hit like 3 crazy shots to make up for it. So it's like a little bit streaky at times. Again, Scream for me is the guy that's been standing out lately. And obviously Dennis coming in for Squayton has changed things as well because now they don't have an in-game leader that's playing. They bring in Legia now as the coach.
Jim Dennis actually won them the game yesterday on the Inferno. He got the running up middle.
The lurk 4 3.
It wasn't even really a lurk. It's more like it's the YOLO play. They needed something to come out for them. He just ran up and got 4 frags. But here we go. And the featured matchup is going to be Nex versus Scream. I think that's a pretty justified matchup. The two scariest players on the server by far. Nex has been showing every single event he goes to. He's just so scary to play against a rifle player. Very good at flick shotting, clutching, and basically finding kills out of nowhere. Retaking B bomb site seems to be his forte. He can run into that site and just get 4 frags anywhere.
That really is as even as you'd like.
Yeah. So Scream as well. We saw him yesterday at the AK-47. They're very similar in terms of the explosive playstyle they bring. They can find kills. All of a sudden, it'll be a 4-on-4 situation. Then those guys can just turn it in your favor out of nowhere. It's really amazing to watch. I think that's a perfect matchup, and that's going to be one of the key factors to it.
Yeah, and as I was saying, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but that is as even as you'd like when you look at those stats. I was actually shocked that even they were. Obviously, Scream comes out with the headshot percentage slightly in his favor. No surprise there. He's known for it, but the entry kills compensate for it on next size. Other than that, straight down the middle.
It's going to be exciting.
It's going to be very exciting. But we'll look at the map pool. That's the crucial one because, like you said, Kinguin may not have the depth yet in their arsenal, and no surprise they take out Cobblestone against Mousesports. That should go without saying.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Cobblestone, they've got a new in-game leader, which is the coach. He's been, as far as I'm aware, he's been with the team less than a month, maybe. If that,
Legia, he's been like, as far as I'm concerned, less than 2 weeks because Toledo only just went out after what event was it? Valencia.
Yeah, so that event was about 1 month ago, but he could have come in like a couple of weeks after. Yeah, so there's going to be something that's going to be weak there. So Cobblestone seems like a reasonable pick to get out of there. Inferno, interesting enough, Mousesports are taken out. What do you think about that?
I don't mind it, but I'm also a little bit curious about why. If they watched last night's game, obviously Kinguin had some very interesting and poor results on T-side. Yeah, but their CT side was nuts. So, I mean, there's two schools of thought on that, and perhaps past results. Maybe Mousesports not feeling comfortable on it lately. But Team Kinguin actually favored based on statistics. Now, statistics are black and white. It depends on who you play against. It depends on how many times you've played the map, et cetera, et cetera. Interesting that the final and fifth map is a dead 50-50 split if we end up on Mirage.
That is going to be interesting. That's one of the maps I thought Kinguin would get rid of, just because it takes such a big... it takes a lot of homework on that map to have all the set executions, working out how to pick the map properly. And if your in-game leader's fresh to the team, he can't have done absolutely everything. So that's one of the maps I'd probably try to avoid. So that'll be interesting. If it does go that far, that'll be one I do favour Mouse in. And that goes to say for this whole entire series, really. Like I said, if this was the best of 3, I'd say Kinguin could probably push it out. But I do really favour Mousesports.
It's interesting as well, though, that Mousesports are favoured on Dust 2, and they are very good on the map. But it's such a map that we think about when it comes to like raw skill and accuracy.
Well, Mousesports are one of the teams that could actually shut down what Kinguin do, right? So yesterday, Hellraisers like almost let them have so much advantage. Like
Dude, they pushed mid so much.
It took them a while to like adjust to what was going on, and I'm not really sure whether Mousesports will be able to. Whether Kinguin will be able to lock down what Mousesports bring to the table. It's going to be they bring a very aggressive game to CT, and that kind of counters what Kinguin do, is kind of walking out one area and short and relying on their aim. If they're getting picked off or getting having confrontation at the start of the round, it's going to be an interesting scenario to say the least. I think that's Dust 2 is going to be one I can't call. I think that is a 50-50 to be fair.
Yeah, I think that a lot of these maps really do come down to that. Just in terms of play style, obviously I'd say Mousesports have shown to be a little more structured, but we don't yet know. We don't know what Legia brings in and how much he is going to really add to executions for Team Kinguin, how much he's really going to structure them, or is he going to let them basically use their skill and play off of mid-round calls as opposed to a direct call?
I think those guys may have a couple of executions, but it'll be the case where they'll only fall back onto them once the picks haven't worked. And at that stage, you've normally lost a man. If a pick hasn't worked, you don't really have much to fall back onto. So I think the scenarios we see them doing the executed strategies, that's going to be an anomaly when maybe they're 7 rounds down, they really have got nothing to go on. So that's when they'll see those come in. I think on Cash, we saw them do a few onto A bombs. So obviously you're going to have some bits and pieces in the bag, but they're mainly going to rely on their raw talent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think mid-round calls are really what's going to come down to. And the key is obviously for the online section, we talked about this. We touched on it last night. We didn't really talk too much about it. As opposed to LAN, where he's sitting behind 5 monitors, having to turn his attention to get a read on what's going on. He's actually in the server here, so now he can click through his 5 players and basically get a feel for exactly what's happening in a first-person perspective.
That's a massive factor, actually. So like you said, if you're at a LAN event, you just have the team speak in your ears. You can't really hear exactly all the nuances going on. But if you're online, connected in the spectator slot, and you can hear, clicking through the players, you can hear every single rotation, you can see what your key players are doing, you can see close up and you see all the little bits and pieces going on. That's when you actually can do some real impact in terms of the calling. When you're at a LAN event and you're just hearing TeamSpeak, you can only watch all 5 screens at the same time, and it's a very different environment. It's not something I've done before being a coach, so I can't really comment that well on it, but I'm going to say that being an in-game leader is always going to be the best way to do it, but these guys are convinced that this is the future.
Interesting. Twitch, again, going against the odds here a little bit, so favoritism toward Kinguin, but you didn't put your money where your mouth is because most of the bets did favor Mousesports, just slightly, but it is dead even, ultimately. I mean, you're within, obviously, 4%, 7% there of being dead even, and, I mean, it was 7%, by the way. I had to do the math in my head. But, I mean, it really is going to be that scenario through and through. I think the 5 maps that we're going to see are all right. I'm kind of curious to see Inferno taken out of the map pool. That potentially could play against Mousesports, in my opinion. And a map like Dust 2 coming in with so much open space. Mirage will be a real test for Team Kinguin. And that's the fifth map. So
I don't think it's going that far.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's got to go 3 or 4 for Kinguin. Just thinking about the order of the maps we're going to see. Train could be interesting as well because Mousesports have had some good results on it lately as well.
So Cash was interesting for Kinguin yesterday. They actually lost this map, didn't they? And
this was the map they lost by 2. Well, 1 round ultimately of forcing overtime, but 2 rounds, 16-14.
DreamHack Valencia, they beat VP on this 16-0. So I think it's more of a case of if they can get the CT side first, which they didn't yesterday. They got the T side first. They got 7 rounds on the board. If they can get CT first, that's when they really get rolling. If they get the pistol, they're going to be a really hard force to stop. So seeing as this is their pick, it looks like they're going to be starting on the T side. So maybe that affects them a little bit. But getting 7 rounds on Cash is not a bad thing necessarily. I think there was a few mistakes made, so quite a lot of clutches lost out on them as well. So hopefully they'll be looking to rectify those areas yesterday. But all 10 players on the server now. Hopefully we'll be able to get into this very soon. Pistol-wise, Kinguin yesterday, I can't remember what they did in their strat. I think they did a very simple age split. They went out middle together and then went up highway. So we're interested to see what these teams can do, whether they'll be adapting.
Yeah, Hellraisers had a lot of mid-control yesterday as well against Kinguin, which was a bit shocking. I'd like to see Kinguin be able to shut that down a little bit more. And obviously, Mousesports is known for being super aggressive on this map. We mentioned it yesterday, and we saw it like in the pistol round. Dennis was just like all the way through B tunnels, got on the flank. He didn't quite get there in time to completely obliterate the pistol round that Torpedo put against them. But he's just so damn aggressive. Like, how do you find a way to shut him down? So if Kinguin have the ultimate skill here and they play some passive style off the start rather than try and get super heavy on their T side, they might be able to catch Mousesports out of position, if you will.
Do you know
but I'm more curious about their CT and mid.
Do you know what was interesting about the Kinguin setup yesterday? They started off with Mekalele AWPing at the back of A bomb side. Do you remember he boosted on top of quad?
But the smoke execution took him out of there.
Yeah, and then as soon as he did that, they lost their confidence. They went for a 5 rifle setup, and they actually got a lot stronger in that scenario. Then they became a lot more dynamic, and they actually forcing crossfires, and they looked a lot stronger as soon as they put the AWP down. So it'll be interesting to see whether they actually go for that. Fox does pick up the AWP as well. He maybe goes towards B sometimes, so they have got a lot of setups they can run, but regardless now, we are going live. Mousesports will be starting on the CT side, Kinguin on the T on D Cash. This is the best of 5 series. Winner qualifies into Group 1.
And already there's actually a shift coming out from Mousesports before we even really see what's going to happen at middle. They take that 3rd player immediately off of highway, put him inside the A site. It leaves next to cover from Z connector and just one solo player who's playing very passively, mind you, on B.
Yep.
So it's interesting that they go for the A stack because it's a much harder site, or rather, much easier site than B to retake. B's a lot more difficult in that sense, and they're actually planning to retake B if it goes that direction. But so far, the read is correct because the bomb, it's finally coming, and it's already in the site. They're already deep inside the site. In fact, no peek from Chris J. It's late, and he misses the first shots. He tries to stop the plant. That's a bit curious from Chris J, as he already had the duel started and doesn't finish it off. Next, making a case to bring it back at least a little bit. 3 kills for him, 2 to go. We talked about his individual skill, and already we're getting a display of it as he'll push all the way from truck through the red crate, but unfortunately just missing out on that last shot on Dennis. It's going to be 1-0 Kinguin.
Yeah, kind of interesting. The Mouse would actually stack that bomb site so heavily. Like you said, a very passive setup onto B. I think it was just God B holding it there by himself. The mid control came in from Kinguin. Once they had established that mid control, there's no confrontation whatsoever. You have a lot of options there, and they went for the A split, obviously utilizing their aims, getting the kills onto the bomb site, but next coming back with 3 kills of his own. Could, like, when he's on live at any situation, you've got to fear him, but Kinguin get through it, but we will see the force buy from Mousesports in reply, and we know how dangerous they are, these scouts, especially Chris J. He can do so much work here, so I think Kinguin are going to be aware of this and approach this round very tentatively. They don't want to give too much away too early on. You see Scream that is opening up the door, seeing what he can find, trying to get some information for his team.
Our initial Molotov just to clear out Forklift as well. One less angle to worry about on the way through. Gives Scream a bit more chance to peek toward Catwalk. Not have to worry about a late peek from anyone that's sitting there in wait. But it is going to be Dennis who comes through. P90 working on Dennis in reverse. That's going to be confusing tonight.
Yep.
So 2ends takes down 1. As Speedy, though, gets back into Scream, so Mousesport at least getting a kill before that bomb goes down. Give themselves a better chance, but look for exits is the best bet. And Godby's gone all the way as he's got a P250 in armor toward T-spawn. Chris J's going to actually take the scout into B. They want to save what they've got.
Yeah, that was actually pretty smart from Kinguin. As I said, approaching the round pretty slowly, trying to work out what the CTs were doing. We saw Scream open the door, the MP7. That just allows him, if he does get taken down to some sort of stack there, they don't give away too much. He's only dropping an SMG, and they can go to the other bomb site and initiate a B push. But he came out, got a Molotov down onto the truck there, or the forklift, I should say, and then cleared out the bomb site from there, and it made the CTs have to fall back. They weren't able to get any retakes of the scouts. Simple smokes went down towards CT spawn and the quad area, and it's got out and made sure they made the most of that. So pretty simple round for them, but Chris J does save that scout play. As we said, you can never write him off when he's got that gun in hand, but Michael will be picking up one as well. But 2-0 now in favour of Kinguin, and hopefully they can convert this one as well, considering it's going up against a pretty much full eco, apart from the scout and P250 we can see there.
Chris is going to play with 1N on A site. That's how I'm going to refer to them.
That could get more confusing.
That could get more confusing and more annoying. But sometimes I like to troll. Rain's already down middle. It's raining in middle. It looks sunny to me in the skyline, but it's definitely raining bullets on Speedy, who has no response for that AK shot. Still, though, waiting at B are the rest of Kinguin. Not just all of them, though. Dennis's push, we talked about this aggression. 1N has gone through toward T-spawn. That's where the bomb is. So if he could win that duel against other Dennis, it could have been probable for them to at least wreak a bit of havoc, cause some confusion, and potentially take down more guns against Kinguin. But Dennis does win that out. That is so damn confusing already. As Fox wants to push forward, the execution slowly but surely working in toward that B site. They don't really ultimately want to drop any guns if they can avoid it. But there one goes. Scream goes down to Gobby. And Chris J, using the scout, nails the headshot on Fox. But Chris J's not in the site. Little do they know, because they haven't put that bomb down. Finally it does. And Michael is just looking to look for the repeat, excuse me. But the flames out, forces him back towards Rain's AK-47, 3-0 now. Guns about to come out from Mousesports.
Well, we say guns, but it's not going to be much in terms of the actual sniper rifles. Chris J has the option to get out of a scout here. Didn't have enough for AWP, and that's the risk you take when you force fire in these rounds. You go into the first gun round without that first sniper rifle, and we know that Mousesports do rely on him quite heavily. But there we go. Michael will be keeping the P90 here, so you have to think they like a lot of boosting up and mid pressure, so that would be a wise choice for them. Actually, as we said, it looks like they're actually going for something pretty fast and towards the A bomb site. 3 players going to A storage, 2 towards Squeaky. Maybe a fast execute here. They're committing all 5 players to the A bomb site, which means they're not showing any presence anywhere. So their only options really is to get out quickly and see what they can do with it.
Already through. Speedy doesn't see them coming because he's still slightly blinded up. That allows Dennis to take the shot. So an M4 down on the A site. Smoke's in. It means that they have a lot more problems trying to cover it off. Dennis in reverse. 1M will try and get the shot, but Scream's found him as well. Kinguin look to take the first gun round potentially now as well. As the bomb does go down, and furthering problems, Scream's going to find Chris J on the re-entry, leaving it just to both Nex and Gobby, and so far passively they try and wait, but look at Michael Lele's position. He's found Nex, and he knows that the last player has to be going for the save as a result of this, because there's no chance of making the round happen, so he's already hot on the heels of Gobby. His position's given away, though. Those boards are so damn indicative, and Gobby punishes him with the M4, but it gives his teammates the read on exactly where he's playing.
There he goes. So that was a pretty good first round from Kinguin, actually. They know the force spike came in second time, so they could get into the bomb site without too much confrontation. They're just with the fact they know they won't have the incendiaries. They'll be low on utility, so they can get in. That's actually an amazing shot from Dennis. We just saw that. That was a really good entry. I didn't catch that the first time around. But when you see all 5 players go towards a bomb site, when they don't get any control of the map whatsoever, they have to do something very fast, or the CTs are able to push and rotate faster than they can, and then that's when it falls apart for them. So that's actually a nice first round tactic and gets them into a great position to take the 5th as well. We can see CTs actually having to go P50s and 5.7s here and pushing into that A main area and seeing if they can get a pick here. That's going to be Speedy trying to gather some information.
Chris J and Gobby have an excellent crossfire setup, but Scream's made itself Far enough forward, so he takes down one without being counterpicked by Gobby, and I'm surprised he's still not gone for a peek. At this point, they'll expect that he's not going to be in that corner because it's been so long. You would expect the trade shuffle. Instead, they pull the rotation. Dennis and Nex come over to join things. And Gob now will hear them leaving B site and push through the tunnels behind them. But he's slow enough. Now, this is interesting, though, because Speedy's at the lockers, well spotted by Rain.
Yep. Great pick from him. That really does secure the round now. CT's got to try and get some kills from very long range of PT-50s. Not a lot they can do. As you said, that, of course, Dennis gets a headshot from across the map and finds one and doesn't make this a complete disaster.
And Michael should have heard Gobby because he's in middle at Cubby going into A main. He'll call that he's coming on the flank. They're not even going to push him, in fact, but they are looking his direction. They need to be careful, though, not to hyper-focus onto him because Nex has the problem that truck is about to be occupied as well from exactly the player he took down. So it does leave Gobby to walk away quietly. Just walk away, big man.
He's not done here yet. He fancies one more kill. I don't think he's going to get it. No one running towards that squeaky area.
And bomb to detonate. But an M4 salvaged. 241,000 kills on it.
Not bad. So this is where it gets interesting for Mousesports now, whether they'll approach the round with AWP. Chris J. Ketterford on, but he's actually going for an AUG. Okay, he's serious. We haven't seen one of those. Actually, to be fair, this series we have across the NA scene, we saw a lot of AUGs come out. It can be quite a viable gun. I know a lot of people do sing his praises. We don't see it that much. Can be considered a little bit cheesy, but I guess if he's holding B by himself, he has got the scope. He can utilise that, but let's see what Kinguin do here. Looks like they're going very fast again towards the A bomb side. One player lurking this time, though. No bomb on them, so they're going in straight for the frags here.
Shot coming from Speedy. It's 2 kills, so finally Mousesports have something to work with. Scream's gone through the smoke. He's in the corner. By boxes, but not yet going up, and he waits it out long enough. First kill goes his way, but he needs to still be weary that Gobby's coming back onto catwalk. Instead, he shuffles out to his left, and Dennis makes him pay the price. They're not going into hiding a little bit sooner. Fox now the last one left. Mouse, great start to the round. Potentially the finish coming out just as swift as Dennis will put the shot into Fox through the smoke.
I'm not sure I was a very big fan of that one, Matt. The fact that they left the bomb towards the middle area and then committed 2 or 3 guys running through the smoke kind of suggests that they're not too confident in the actual push they're doing. If you're going to push some of your main players through and potentially lose them, you want to have the rest of the guys there with them, backing them up. There's no point of them dying, and then you say, oh, at least we've got the bomb still, because you can't really do anything with it at that stage. But there we go then. It's going to be the first round on the board for Mousesports, and hopefully they can capitalise now. They've got a decent bankroll coming up. I know AWP coming up from Michael, and with Mousesports not having one, he could potentially find a kill here onto Chris J.
As the flames extinguish on the boost. 8 HP already for Fox, less than that for Michael, who goes for the repeak onto Chris J, who has an AUG out.
Yeah, I don't know how he took down Michael there. He actually gets 2 as well, showing us why that gun can be so viable on cash.
Apparently so, as he holds that angle to perfection. He might actually find 3. Not so easily spoken, but damage dealt no less. Dennis went down to 4 HP after that exchange. Mouse Dennis, that is, of course, as Gobby now lays a flash into the tunnels just to slow them a little bit further, but still they push forward. Or do they? Rain's thinking better of it. Bomb is with Michael. He's going to throw that into the corner. Or rather, Scream, excuse me. But Gobby's got the crossfire. Nex and vents as well, so even if they get that first kill, they're going to have problems immediately, and there it is. Nex already through, finding out where Scream is. Dennis wants to push immediately through, and he has blinded up Rain, so they haven't got the movement they had initially planned for. And as a result of this, the round's falling away from them. Rain's on low HP, and Dennis will close it out. Well done, Mousesports again. So 5-2, 2 in a row. Not only resetting the lost round bonus, but now potentially breaking the economy of the T's. They could force here if they wanted to, but it'd be desperate.
Pretty strained round there. In that peak, when Makalady had the AWP towards B, you have to favour him when Chris J's got an AWP, but apparently not. He takes down 2 players and gets them 2 very good early frags. And now that allows him to pick up the AWP for himself, and it forces Kinguin onto an eco. We can have a look at their buy. They've got the smoke and 2 flashbangs, but they're all heading towards B. It's going to be a very fast tactic for them. Maybe they're aware this is a setup that's going to be there.
Chris J has to fall back as well, the generator, because they're pushing in so quickly. So Chris has to look for a shot against a bunch of players who are littering the site. He's already gone down. Fox finding him. Chris is normally strong at that generator position, but not to be this time, as Dennis goes back into the site from Checker. Bomb he spotted drop down as well, just at the edge of Checker toward the tunnel, so he'll have confidence in controlling this situation as Fox with the op is trying to wait for Speedy to get up in heaven, but Speedy's not going to take the ramp. He jumps up just to be sure that he gets against the wall before spotted out. Now he knows that Fox is pushed forward, but good shoulder peek because he initially thought he was still on the platform when he was in the small pit.
Yeah, it got a little bit hairy there. The fact they rushed B and Chris J didn't take down a single kill. You'd normally expect him when the 5 players appear on your screen to actually just take anyone down with him, but didn't manage to get a shot off there. Forced back to headshot. Got a little bit panicky for him. Godby took one down and they got the retake pretty successfully, but Fox picking out that AWP at the end, that could have been really dangerous. We know how hot he can be with that gun, but here we go then. This is the first real gun round of both teams having AWPs. Let's see how this one goes down. We can see Kinguin have been opting to do very fast strategy so far in their gun rounds. It looks like they're actually maybe slowing it down for once and seeing how they can approach this one and picking towards the A, letting the smokes go down instead of just pushing through them like we have seen in the last 2 times.
Scream, excellent
Where did that
shot.
come from?
That's insane by Scream. He was in the boost, he fell back down right after he hit
Lord.
that.
It sounded horrible. I just had the headshot fly through.
It sounded excellent if you're a Kinguin fan.
Yeah.
Because finally, after having 5 rounds to 0, they've lost all the early picks, they get one back. And now Michael Lele's turn to go on the hunt. They've got Rain toward the door, as we now see. He'll open that up. Molotov both on forklift, now to quad as well. Speedy forced down into the open, but he can play the right side of the box. He still has an angle he can control here as well. So long as the smoke doesn't get deployed right where we're going to see it, directly in front of him. But Michael Lele already coming through, has managed to find that kill. Dennis has to respond. He's at quad. Dennis hitting 2. Excellent shots up close as he tries to look toward the doorway. Little does he know they've crossed over it. Nex will now make that call, though, because he's taken down Michael Lele, and Nex is going to double up himself. But Scream getting back into him means there's still a chance here. Just the one player as he goes solo, but solo could be enough because Dennis gets erased from the map. It's left to Godby. 100 health for Godby and only 36 for Scream. But we're talking about the world-class accuracy of an AK-47 player who's still definitely on the hunt right now. Has bomb as well, so he's got time, but not time, rather. He's got 5 seconds. He has to get the kill, and Godby's not going to allow it.
Yeah, he waited a little bit too long there. I think he thought he knew who the CT player was and expected a face to be coming in, maybe the CT to doubt himself. But he was very strong in his position. Speedy did waiting there on the highway area and made sure he made that simple frag. Like, Scream just didn't have enough time to check everywhere at that stage. He walked onto the bomb site, got taken down. After they got that initial frag as well, you really expected Kinguin to take that one. Great headshot from Scream in the middle area. Would have pulled the CT's part a little bit, but Dennis doing some great work with the AWP at the back of quad. And that's a position, if you can find frags there, can be so important to you. But here we go then. This is another eco coming from Kinguin. They are favouring the B area again. Had some pretty good success last round, and will they be able to convert this one to a victory? But Chris J opens it up, takes down Rain, and puts the smoke down as well. So they're going to be in a pretty good position here. And Dennis takes down Chris J, and now it's a 4-on-3 favouring Kinguin. And this big frag's coming in all over the place. 3-on-2 now.
Money's still honest on both sides, despite that it's now 4 rounds in a row for Mousesports. Finally, Kinguin getting back into that. So there's going to be a bit of an issue moving into this next round for Mousesports.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a look at their cash now, they don't really want to force this. They know that full AKs, AWPs will be coming in for the terrorists. They might as well take this one on the chin and do a full eco. You can see a couple of P250s in there. Godby can justify some body armor, but apart from that, there's nothing to talk about, really. Nex has got a deagle. He can be pretty handy with that. So they're going to have to stack here and take some sort of chance. And I'd imagine Kinguin are just going to boost up the middle, work a pick, see what they can do. But that's all really Mouse can hope for is a full-on stack, and maybe they get some frags. The rushes B for Kinguin, they shouldn't be working so effectively as they are, but that just goes to show you how good they are at entry fragging and using their aims in their favour.
Shot by Rain, catching Chris J. The aggression we talked about as they are back to pistols. He wants that information. Scream's also taking a hefty amount of damage toward mid. In fact, they're going to push a little bit more forward on that. Speedy working down the wall. But Scream's not stupid. He's going to fall back into mid, let his teammate in Rain come out to take that fight. He spots up an excellent shot on Godby. A secondary peek coming out from Mouse in that Z connector, and it's completely negated already.
And Speedy's going to be last man there, hoping he finds a man somewhere, but 5-on-1. I don't really fancy his chances of even finding a terrorist to shoot at. You can see him just pushing now to the T-spawn area and seeing what he can find, but it's going to be empty, I think, and that's going to be the 7th round on the board for Kinguin. They're having a pretty successful campaign here, right? So Mousesports getting 4 in a row, but Kinguin bouncing back now. That eco rush into B really has paid dividends for them. The Tech 9s, Deagle, Force, finding the kills onto Chris J. He seems to be struggling a little bit defending those eco buys. Like the first round, he didn't get a single kill. Second time, he took one down with him before he got a Deagle headshot in the face. I think they need to address the B setup perhaps. I think Kinguin are very keen to the fact that they have got the AWP solo in there.
Wow, Michael Lele still has his up to work with. We do see guns come back out on the CT side, but they have Chris J on a scoped weapon that's not the one of choice. It's going to be the Scout just due to the money. I was about to say before round, well, Kinguin's 6th round, whatever that was, round 10 at the time, that Mousesports had done really well of bringing the economy back in their favor after losing the 5 rounds, but so quickly it turned by just losing 1.
Oh, yeah.
And such is the way that the exchanges have gone.
Well, now we say Chris J actually going towards the mid area with the Scout. We always talk about it. His Scout is really deadly, so you can't write them out this round yet. Obviously, none of them getting head armor due to the AK one-bullet headshot potential. But again, Kinguin actually playing this round pretty smart. We've seen him do a lot of fast stuff this game, but slowing it right down, feeding out the map and seeing what Mousesports have brought to the table.
Mousesports, again, have brought a Scout to the table, not an op. So we'll see if Chris J can find it. But Nex is going to look over toward that A site, potentially try and push into A main. We haven't seen that push yet come out from them, even though in nights prior it's been pretty common. And Chris J's given up middle very early. So Dennis has a chance to rotate up highway. Of course, Kinguin Dennis, that is for the T side. But a shot coming out, that's going to give away to Speedy that he's there. And this is just a ruse. He's trying to sell this over toward A. And as that smoke comes out and he falls off it, coming into Chris J. Chris J swaps over to the pistol and wins that duel. This may indicate that it's B because there's no other pressure put on A. And in fact, the rotation's coming over from Chris, but the kills are coming the way of Kinguin as Rain takes down Dennis. And they work in on the site. Smoke off on the CT connector, leaving a very lowly entry for Chris J. And in fact, low HP makes it even more problematic. So Scream able to take that kill. And all the entries working out means saves are coming in for Mousesports. 2 M4s to keep.
So the only kill they actually got was with that Scout in middle. He managed to tag Dennis in the side, finish him off with the 5-7, but when they execute onto the B, you're right, it was actually pretty obvious actually what was going on, but I guess that force buy didn't allow them to have the right utility to hold the T's off, got taken down on the bomb site, swarmed as such, but now they've got no kits at all. The retake potential just isn't there. They're going to have to hide and hope they save these. We can see one player towards quad. Speedy's to be hiding behind the van in CT spawn, hoping that no one comes looking for him, but Fox can smell him. Fox becomes the hound.
Fox becomes the hound. Nicely done.
Thanks.
And a sense of smell for an animal. You got 2 in there almost.
Well, there we go. That's actually a really big round for Kinguin to win. That was a big force buy from Mousesports. Quite lucky for them to save 2 rifles. Had they not have done that, could have been really detrimental to them. But keeping the M4s, the other guy's not going to force buy here. It's definitely the right thing to do. Otherwise, it's going to get too far gone for them to get back into. Where they use these M4s will be yet to be seen. You can see it's going to be Nex holding the middle area. Speedy going towards A, so I think that's probably a good choice. See if they can just utilize the rotation, go for the first picks. But Chris J does get taken down, and that's going to open up the Beast bomb site once again.
Not fully, though, because they still have Gob on that platform. P250. They'll try and let them lurk forward, use the sound to figure out which shot to take first, but Dennis beats him to the punch. Next getting 1 in response, but Rain's there to answer that. So it's only 2 left. Very low HP for both Dennis and now as well on to Rain, and almost Rain getting shot through that garage on the spam, but Scream's now got Dennis. It leaves Speedy, and Speedy is no more. Speedy's a little slow.
Okay, so Speedy's a little slow. Good. Right then, so we go into this 14th round. Right now, Mousesports haven't got enough on the board. And the CT side, they need to get these last 2 just to make sure they have a good fighting chance. Even if they lose a pistol next half, they still have a bed to play with. But Dennis and Chris J now both picking up the AWPs. As I said before, Chris J hasn't had too much success towards the B area with it, but he's going to keep it over there. Dennis will be locking down the mid zone. So I guess that kind of makes sense. They've got this interesting boost coming in now. This could actually work out really well for them. There it is. That first pick's amazing. And that's enough for them. They can fall out to the bomb sites now. They've done enough work here. They don't want to overcommit to it.
And the weird thing about that boost is you can only see the drop from it. It doesn't let you see the mid connector, but likewise, he couldn't be spotted in return, so they couldn't get the return shot from Michael Lele. So double op setup in play. Trade came back in, obviously, as we've seen. So Speedy goes down, and now it's going to be Dennis on the entry to take down other Dennis. So T-sided entry, but the response comes again. It's Gava next, picking up a kill apiece. It leaves 2 players for Kinguin on the A site. They have bomb, and they've also put a very deep smoke toward truck. That's now dissolved, so just the single smoke at the side of the right crate. And it's Michael Lele trying to peek past it, getting caught by Nex. And Fox has his own smoke to at least get him back out toward quad. The other one is about to dissolve. There's about 4 seconds. Yeah, in stack, it's already fading. So he's going to get caught. No man's land, but he takes the fight. Unfortunately, there's 2 peeking him at the same time, so Chris is able to close it. And it will be a 5th round for Mousesports, but Kinguin getting 9 already on the T side. Yeah, pretty damn good.
That's why I said they need to get these last 2, just to give themselves that sort of bed of rounds to play with. Otherwise, they're going to go into it with actually nothing to actually rely on. So that was actually a good reaction from Mousesports. They know they've been losing mid quite a lot. The boost up into smoke, quite ingenious play, really. They know that they're exploiting the boost area. Got the first pick. Didn't overcommit to it. Sadly, though, Speedy should have been falling back at the same time his teammates did. He got taken down by a fast push from the T side. But going into this last round now, you can see the CT's economy isn't amazing. Godby's going to be on a Famous there, but this is a round, like I said, they definitely want to take this. Chris J, not going to have the AWP this time. He's actually going to just leave it on Dennis, and he will be holding the B area with the M4. He's going to have some confrontation as well.
Nice shot from Michael Ale this time, though, to win that mid position. We saw that frag work against them the first time. Next is playing around in that smoke, knows Michael Ale is above, and does eventually locate him, almost with echolocation, because he didn't have vision through that smoke. But Rain's now got back in the next. So things still unfolding for Kinguin, and they've got a 2-2 split, interestingly enough, on the T side, trying to figure out which bomb site has the better entrance point, and a trade on B may indicate that that's weak. Bomb's way down. Okay, it's just one player left, sure, but Bomb's way down back toward T-spawn. And that means Dennis has to go back to find it, while Fox will fight other Dennis, and Fox spots other Dennis going into A main. He turns back with the op, can't land the shot, and Fox makes it 10 rounds Kinguin. They don't get the 2 you talked about.
Nope, so Kinguin actually, they got 7 yesterday, 10 today, so they've improved their T side compared to what happened against Hellraisers, but that was actually really convincing from them. They kept it pretty simple, like kept working the mid area, chucked in a few B rushes there. They relied on that. Do you remember the first gun round they did the full A execute, worked out really well for them. I think that was the only time we really saw that. Apart from that time, they actually just opted to go for the picks, work areas fast, just choose bomb sites and just commit to them. So getting the mid control, pushing the CTs back, and going up highway is quite favourite to them as well. They've got a lot of picks that way, and just great post-plant play. And now we're going to the pistol one. Mousesports definitely needs. It looks like they may be opting for a B side push here. Whether they'll do a full-on rush, but they're going to have 3 CTs pushing them. This is great from Kinguin.
This is what we see normally from Mousesports, and it's Michael Lele to find out where 2 of them are perfectly with headshots. Chris J and Nex combined to get the kill back, but it's Nex now doubling up his total. Able to take down Fox, able to take down Scream, and it's back to a 2 versus 2. This is unlikely because Kinguin lost so many early on. Or rather, Mousesports said you would have thought they fell back sooner and not taken these fights, and Kinguin overstay their welcome in exchange. As Dennis now looking for Speedy, who tried to fake that he rotated back toward middle, but is still in the B tunnels, and having been spotted now by Dennis Meister, he'll bring Rain over top of the high, or rather Heaven. So they'll play a buddy system, but the buddy system also means that there's no one home at A, and Mousesports can get a potential bomb plant, and should, out of this round to bring money potentially toward an early buy.
But both the CT players haven't really realised yet there's another bomb site. They're both committing to this quite heavily. I'm not really sure.
You mean there's 2 on a map?
Why has no one moved yet? Why has no one thought, might go to the other side here? Oh, now they've realised. The penny's dropped. And they could have just played one towards CT spawn, one towards the truck on A. I would have been fine. But Speedy now in actually a pretty decent position.
So for whatever reason, they thought Speedy was playing mind games. It ends up working in Speedy's favor, but Speedy has found 1 kill. It's rained down. Dennis has to pursue this because otherwise he just plays the timer. And well done by him. He's got the kit as well in the first round. So Kinguin pick up round 11.
So yeah, that's just going to be a very difficult response for Mousesports now. They have 2 options. They get the Tech-9s this time, or they go AKs next round. I would be saying let's get the Tech-9s next round. Sorry, let's get the AKs next round and see what we can do with that. Godby, though, he's going to be buying Tech-9 and armor. It looks like the rest of the team will be as well. So they are trying to get back into this as quickly as possible. Cash is actually a very viable map to do it because you can go towards the A-bomb site and you can drop a simple smoke to quad, pop flashes out of A main, and you can force your way into the highway area, and that does work very effectively. So we can see there.
Here's the flash.
They're going straight in?
I'm not sure they will. The flash was definitely there. No, they're not. Michael Lele doesn't want to. It could have been good because the timing was such that they weren't actually inside the A main yet. They were at the doorway. And Mike could have come in firing to an arrow or choke point, but now they'll push through. They spot him, so he has to shoot. He tries to play the trigger discipline. But position given up allows Chris to get the kill. Doesn't necessarily account for the fact that Rain is still on quad, and he's going to play around with Godby. Now dropping the bomb toward him. He's able to pick up a 3rd. Rain, you talked about how good this guy is, and he shows it right now as it leaves Speedy in a position where there's nothing left to do but die.
That was pretty lackluster from Mousesports, I'm afraid. They could have done so much more of that. Had they waited for the CTs to do their little pushes and the flashbangs and wait for the smokes to go down, it's just you give yourself a much better chance if you just smoke out that quad area completely and take him out of the game, and you focus and isolate towards the highway and forklift and try and find the right pick, and then you can swarm the bombs after that. Now they force bought, put themselves in a really difficult situation. Kinguin are loving this now. They know they can get away with quite a lot. It's going to be nothing but whatsoever from the tees, and they're going to have a difficult gun round as well going into this.
And Kinguin starting off the anti-eco successfully. Haven't lost anyone, nor very much health indeed, as Michael Lele bringing down Dennis. That may change. Good save by Scream. In fact, he didn't even get an assist. I thought Scream for sure bailed his teammate out, but Fox managed to turn around fast enough. 3 to go for Kinguin on map 1. Best of 5, so it's a start, it's a lead, but it's not nearly enough to call it done. And we've got so many more maps coming forward, and like you say, Mousesports do have depth in their favor.
Well, here we go. This is obviously a crucial round for both teams. You can see Mousesports don't have any Molotovs really to speak of.
By the way, interestingly enough, and maybe it's just the view for Tab based on how we joined in, I see you and I in a spectator slot. I don't see Legui in a coach position, which we did have last night.
That's true, actually. Maybe they're relying on Dennis to be the in-game leader tonight, but that's a very good point. But there we go. The fragging does open for Team Kinguin. They take down Chris J, obviously not on the AWP. The money has been heavily effective for the CTs. And now the T's need to work out what are they going to do in this situation. You've lost a man. You haven't really got much utility to play with. They've got a few smokes. They're going to have to commit to a bomb site. Looks like they're going to try and work with pick towards B.
Fox is so close to hitting that shot. He nearly gets a second one to walk in, but not able to land either. Speedy was so close that he instantly countered that. No time to swap out to a pistol, and now he's got the second, but Rain's coming back over. Almost firing back to his teammate is Dennis because he's in full panic mode trying to retake from vents. Rain's going for the flank. First bunny hop was okay, but not much of a speed acceleration. In fact, less so on the second. Rain's going to now take down next. Michael Lele finding Dennis. It's left to Speedy. The man who opened the round with 2 has to close it with 3.
No
So far, not going to happen.
So they get the bomb down. They should be able to get a decent buy next round. It's going to be 4 in a row they've lost. So AKs will be coming out for them, but this one is pretty done as far as I'm concerned. Even if they win a couple of rounds, Kinguin's economy is going to be so strong right now. You can see Michael Lele's there sat on $8,000. They've got AWPs out. They can just do something a little bit aggressive this time. Force a phase maybe towards A storage or just have an anchor towards B. They won't be able to shut that down. And you can see Chris J getting the scout out. We say how much they rely on him to be the sniper player, and he will opt to buy a scout if he needs to. So he'll be going for the pick towards B as well. Will he have the same sort of response in terms of north facing? I think he will do, in fact. Oh, he manages to get the shot. Of course he does. It's Chris J.
Through the wall, no less. Beautiful start by him. But look at the position from Kinguin. They've already left the A site. They know they're in those B tunnels. They've got a player inside vent to close them off. And not only that, Rain will be able to hear them if they work back through middle. So they're committed right now, our Mousesports. And Dennis coming back through, only picking up 1. Gives Speedy the trade, and it stays to 3-on-3. But Rain pushes in just in time through the vents. And then Michael Lele comes in once they turn backwards.
Yeah, even if Rain didn't clear up there, the Michael Lele came in with a perfect backstab as the distraction was coming in. They were absolutely done for as soon as they committed to that checkers area. And that might be it, I'm afraid, for this map, because that just pushes Mousesports further against the ropes. Now they have no head armor. They've got some AKs, but absolutely zero utility. 2 smokes, that's basically it. A deagle on next. So as long as Team Kinguin don't do anything too silly here and overcommit to something, they should be taking the first map now. Looks like Mousesports will be doing something pretty fast towards the squeaky door area. A couple of guys in A storage as well. But like I said, Kinguin is the hold back and force the issue. And Speedy taking out Fox though. Interesting.
Rain trying to put the shot on the door. Dennis does eventually open it to his demise. And we do have a crossfire established in that A site as well because Michael Lele is playing quad. Now playing site side quad, not fence side.
So that first kill that Speedy got, Speedy got was onto Fox pushing the B bomb site. That's what I'm talking about. You can't overforce this when you don't need to. But Rain does answer that, takes down God B. 4-on-3 now, and this might be it.
It could very well be over as we do see the peak toward A main. Surprisingly, next not spotted up by that. So he'll stay alive, but as he pushes forward, low HP, it's easy for Rain to pick it up. It's left to now just Speedy. Chris went down while we were watching that other frag, and I'm afraid that Speedy's got not much options. Excuse me, as Dennis is going to just fire away and troll in the vent just to make the noise, try and distract for his teammate to come through. Now he busts it out, and he goes immediately forward with the M4. It's 16-5. What a start for for Team Kinguin, rather.
Yeah, they didn't even drop a single round on their CT half. A straight victory for them. That was fantastic. So We know they're very strong on their CT side. They got enough rounds on the T side. Very simple stuff for them in terms of strategy on the T side. They didn't actually have to employ too many of the set pieces. Like I said, they do have them, and they can chuck them in as the surprise plays. Maybe that's why it's very good for them to do it on the first gun round. Teams don't expect them to do it. So that's why they went straight for it, got it down, and then they were able to work their normal game from there. So here's the scoreboard then. Who really stepped it up? Rain, again, 29 frags for him, and 16 headshots as well. It's pretty phenomenal stuff from him.
And not a bad game from Dennis either, who was quiet yesterday. 21, 10 headshots, 4 opening kills. Not the most, though. Chris J actually had the most entries, if you will. Again, first kills doesn't imply it's an entry on a site, nor does it imply it's T-side. So 5 first kills, no less, give his team the advantage.
But look at Chris J's actual total kills, 8 kills. That's a very quiet game from him. Normally we expect
5 of them were the first ones in the round, too. Interesting.
So, like, he's normally expected to be up there with Next. Those are the 2 poster boys of the team. But here's your MVP. I chose him in my Vulcan squad. And Matt, you didn't, did you? You didn't believe?
I didn't, and I should have. I should have dropped Dennis, although tonight Dennis is making up for it. He's the second highest on the team, as we can see in the graph. He's the farthest one to the left, of course. Going down the line, Chris J is the farthest one to the right. He leads that first kill category, as we talked about. The only one who had a first kill was Nex, interestingly enough. But we'll take a short break. We'll get ready for map number 2 to see if Mousesports can tie this series back up or if they give Kinguin a hefty lead. Now, we did see the other night in the best of 5 in the North America that they came back from 2-0, but they still ended up losing it.
That was a good
method over SKDC in that one. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Very passive setup to be. I think it was just Godby holding it there by himself. The mid control came in from Kinguin. Once they had established that mid control, there's no confrontation whatsoever. You have a lot of options.
Has managed to find that kill. Dennis has to respond. He's at quad. Dennis hitting 2. Excellent shots up close as he tries to look toward the door. Forward, use the sound to figure out which shot to take first, but Dennis beats him to the punch.
On rush, but they're going to have 3 CTs pushing them. This is great from Kinguin.
This is what we see normally from Mousesports, and it's Michael Lele to find out where 2 of them are. Giving up allows Chris to get the kill. Doesn't necessarily account for the fact that Rain is still on quad, and he's going to play around with Godby. Now dropping the bomb toward him. He's able to pick up a 3rd. Rain, you talked about how good this is in a coach position, which we did have last night.
That's true, actually. Maybe they're relying on